Wednesday 585, Justice for Tyrone West, and Justice for all victims of police brutality. Tawanda, it's all you.
Yes, thank you, Queen. Thank everybody, and I apologize that I'm not in live with you guys, but I'm only in through audio, but I'm just happy to be here with you guys in this space. So I'm going to give a mic check, and we're going to play we're going to play our daily video that we play when we're online. So, mic check.
Mic check.
Can't stop, won't stop, till killer cops are in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No,
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz. In a video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one: concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here, Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly. Picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, I said, what's wrong with it? Improper way with it. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the law?
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah, let me get it.
Profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Dad, you can record for what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What do you call a supervisor? I'm about to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we are getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardes Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 or 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
So thank you again, my queen, and thank you, Uncle Bill, for pulling me through. But I just wanted to saying that every time I hear that video, it literally makes me relive a nightmare that I had never asked for. This is a club that none of us signed up for. It's a disgusting, horrific club that you have no choice that when you're the chosen one to just deal with it. And then the ugliest part is the tragedy with both things, and that's this dirty system that robs you and it makes you feel like you are to blame for, or the victim was to blame for their own demise, because this system cares nothing about us. This is a capitalist society that does not care anything about any of us. It only cares about money. And it's just sad. And it's perpetuated by racism and the fact that we are hated even when we're in the womb. Before we even born into this world, we're already hated, and that's so sad and disgusting. And it's years and years of hate. And meanwhile, we have to get in a position to accept and kind of do things. I'm so sick and tired of it, because what resonated to me tonight, because I always find something that stands out when we play this horrific video. A real witness. In case anybody don't know, or you might assume, these are real people that were injured and affected in some type of way by this road cop Ruiz, who's still actively working on the force as a sergeant or supervisor, and he murdered my brother. He gets to marry the state prosecutor, Michelle Battle, and no one checks them about this. And he had numerous complaints. What about the cases that we don't know about? My blood is on the city of Baltimore. 585 weeks to continuously fight for accountability is very tiresome. It's very heartbreaking. But for me, literally, to hear Darrell cry, and that was the young man that was pretty much pulled over, targeted, just like he said, he was targeted, right? Pulled over for no reason, and Ruiz used that seatbelt foolishness. No one ever checked him on that. And for this young man to have known his rights and said, hey, I don't feel safe right now. If anybody that's there to so-called serve and protect, the first thing they should have did was say, he asked them, do you want me to stop on the call? But they kept being aggressive pieces of swine, and I'm trying to use good words so that I won't use potty words. But my whole point is no one never corrected their wrongs. And the fact that it's still happening, and you have failed not only my brother, you have failed every citizen of Baltimore City. Every citizen you failed, because every time that these maniacs, and it started with Ruiz, true, but it didn't stop at Ruiz. The last killer in counting was David Killer Lewis from Morgan State University. For my brother to be executed in such a violent, vicious way, an attack that no one, I don't give a damn how strong, how healthy, whatever the case may be, no one could have survived a nightmare like that. No one should have ever had to go through anything like that. But the fact that my poor brother at the tender age of 44 years old. This is my older brother, my big brother. And for me to outlive my big brother that raised me, do you know how heartbreaking and devastating that is? That is disgusting. And I've been saying the same exact thing. My family, my supporters, we keep saying we are not safe. Do something. And yet it falls on deaf ears. Last week, I was able to bring you our beautiful queen, who, for him to be executed in his home or at a residence where he is asleep. Just imagine you wake up, you have a right to bear arms. So you're not got a street burn, a Saturday night special. You are registered to carry a weapon to protect yourself. But when white racist people say, I want to stand my ground and protect myself, and they blow our brains out for no reason, set us up, have us knock on the door and shoot through closed doors and say, I fear for my nightlife. They were knocking hard. Foolishness. And we keep on accepting it over and over and over again. My heart is broke, and it's sad and disgusting. But I don't care what it takes, how long it takes. I'm in it for the long haul. But it's sad. Nobody family should go through something like that. Justice delayed is justice denied. We have been denied justice for 585 weeks. I'm going to repeat that. We have been denied. My family, the West family, has been denied accountability because there is no justice. It's just us trying to hold folks accountable. And it's said that nobody's being held accountable. I feel like in this society that we live in, and this is my opinion, this is not West Coalition, this is Tawanda Jones speaking. Tired Tawanda Jones as of right now. For me to be able to go to work and have a real busy, extreme day, living out my passion, working and pouring into the lives of beautiful little faces every day, no matter how hard it is, no matter how underpaid I am. But for me to do that in dedication as something that I chose to do, and it's a hard test, and I have to come home, rush through traffic, didn't even take my jacket off yet, and I have to come on here, on live, right, and pour out what happened to my poor brother, Tyrone West, and what's going on with all the victims of police brutality, because these are not isolated incidents. It's systemically happening, and it's happening all around the world. And it's just so sad that we are now living in a world that, like, I mean, we always been living in a world that, you know, racism always, you know, happen. But to me, I feel like it's getting worse, and we're sitting back doing nothing. And we have our ancestors sitting back that died for us, that are looking down. This is my opinion. This is not the West Coalition. Again, this is Tawanda Jones, a.k.a. T, talking to you. My point is the ancestors that gave their blood to try to make us not feel pain, not be saddened by what is happening now, are looking down at us in disgust. It is disgusting, and that's why I will never, ever let the light and the flame go out for my big brother and all the victims of police brutality. Anthony Anderson, Timothy Flemings, the list goes on. Amir Locke, the list goes on. You saw what happened to Sonia Massey. You can't even be in your own home. Your own home. And you're in fear of things, and you think it's a prowler outside. And we already know, let's be crystal clear, the prowlers are the police gangs. They're the biggest legalized gang in America. I don't give a damn what city, what state they're in. They are a legalized gang. They act as such, they are. My mother always taught me that if it walks like a dog and it barks like a dog, it's a dog. Or if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. My whole point is we have to get to the point where we say enough is enough and seriously do something. Seriously shut it down. And how can one do that? Shut it down like to me, my theory or my experience of shutting it down is literally whenever someone is murdered, like in George Floyd incident, when the world was like, you know what, we're going to stand together in unity. Things got burned up, and we don't want things burning up, but things got tore up because they care more about property than they care about us. And then they start listening. And then, but to me, shutting it down is not spending money, not keep on going back to them, allowing them to give us these little victories that we can get so comfortable with. To me, it's no victory until we get accountability. Let's be crystal clear. You can give us every law. See, they feel like every time somebody get murdered or, in a horse way and it's their fault. Oh, well, let's just give them a bill. The law, yeah, all that's good, but that don't amount to nothing if those damn killer cops aren't in a cell block. That is disgusting, the stuff we go to. But when I think about what happened to Sonia Macy, for you to call 911 and you feel not safe or what have you, whatever the case may be, and then killers show up and you already coming out and you're like, you're not going to kill me. And then they give me what I call like pretty scene and acting like they're nice, being nicey, just like my sister Gina said when we had did the big exclusive West Wednesday about Sonia Massey and we unpacked and showed you the heartbreaking video. And into it, we had a nice conversation as best as we could with this hurt and pain. But my whole point is, when are we going to say enough is enough? What are we going to do about it? How many more people have to die? It is sad and disgusting. And there's so much of corruption going on, like literally, and that's what I teach my kids. And every moment, and when I say my kids, it's extended to my children in the classroom. Those are my babies as well. My point is, we have to be in a predicament where we are always fighting and we're never easing up and we're not letting them massage us or rock us to sleep and be distracted while they go and kill another one of our loved ones. And then we just be like, oh, let's hold up a protest sign. Let's just shut it down for 2 days. Or no, that's not enough. Imagine if our forefathers, our ancestors, our loved ones would have, when they had to go through getting their eyeballs cut out if they read a book. Like, I'm talking about we were tortured. And I'm talking about my people, African American people, were tortured just for trying to read a book to educate ourselves. And it's the same exact thing that's happening right now. It's the same thing. They try to fill our babies up with all this Ritalin and all these psychotic drugs to mess their future up. And if you're not strong enough to advocate and stand up for what's right and stand up for what you love, they'll feed you anything. They'll feed you anything. It's just like I said, we are frogs, baby, in that pot of water. And the temperature's just rising and we just sitting back. We ain't happy now. We just rising to our own demise. Instead of us rising to our own demise, we need to rise up, stand together, and shut it down. I'm talking about not spending money. If that means we ain't got whatever we got to do to really make that we ain't going nowhere, we need to do it. And this is like, you see people come out in the thousands. Like when somebody's just murdered and when the camera's around, but then when somebody else get murdered, rather even if through community violence or through police brutality, then you don't see the numbers and it's just business as usual. It's not business as usual. murder is wrong, but I will tell you the big difference from when, unfortunately, someone is killed on the street. That's sad and disgusting, but if you get enough of evidence and you find the right person, especially if they're not Caucasian and white and they want to hide them, protect them, justice delayed is justice denied. But you can get some type of accountability. But when it's a killer cop, you can know what they did, all of that. They could be on the videos, just like we play Ruiz every time we're online, and nothing. This man ain't even fired. His best life. This man got married a few years ago. I was personally going to go shut it. I wasn't going to do nothing violent. All up in his wedding with my bullhorn on, playing F the police. And I wanted to ask his wife, oh, do you know you're saying I do to a killer? And then I was going to leave. But my whole point is, it's way too much of stuff going on, so many distractions. And it's just so sad that now you can't even speak to people in public no more because people are so mad and stuck and just angry. It seems like the whole world is angry. And that's why when I went to Oakland to pour in with families and love on each other and not focus on so much of what happened to our loved ones. Big shout out to Uncle Bobby and Auntie B that allowed us to do that. And they put their own bodies on the line when they do that, because you got to know it's a lot of unhappy people that are mad because they're doing great stuff for families. Healing. They don't want to see us heal. They rather see us fail over and over again. They fail us. But it's something else when we fail ourselves. And when we fail ourselves, it's when we sit back and we become that frog inside of that pot. Nothing. Guess what? We're failing all of our ancestors. We're failing everybody, including ourselves. So I'm just telling everybody, step up and stand up and do what's right. You have to be bold as a lion, bold, and speak up for what's right. If you sat by and you seeing foolishness, when I say, that's why I posted a post yesterday, because I was going through a thing, because I'm always loyal. I always share. Anybody know me, they know I wear my heart on my sleeve. And when I feel like people are being deceptive in whatever type of way, my heart instantly breaks. But then it might break, but guess what? I know not to go down that road again. I'll spoon feed you from a long distance. But my whole point is, when I was getting ready to have that black cloud go through me and get back into that mood swing that I did not want to go through, because I learned that when I connected with families and after I left there, I was able to take a real time for myself, because again, I won't even call it a vacation. Even though I posted I'm still on my vacation, but I won't have my real vacation until I get accountability for my big brother Tyrone West. I have not been able to grieve in 585 weeks. Just imagine carrying all that kind of hurt, pain, unresolvedness inside of one body. Just imagine it. I have not been able to grieve because as my brother was murdered, they covered it up. And then it's taken all them years and they still covering it up and they still rocking us to sleep. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. Massaging our backs and rocking us to freaking sleep. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. But we need to all be sick of it. One or two people could be sick of it, but until we all get sick of it, nothing's going to happen. We need to start pouring together. Like we came down in thousands. That's what we need to do now. So they can be like, oh my goodness, why are they out there? They get nervous when we get together, y'all, because we have the power. They may have the weapons. They may have all of that, but we have the voices and we have the power inside of us. And you don't have to burn nothing down. You don't even have to turn nothing up. Just being together in solidarity and standing up for what's right, saying, no, we ain't taking it no more. Like, what? But we don't do that. We rather hurt people that are helping us. And it's just like my brother Boone said a long time ago when I heard him say it, it touched my heart in such a profound way. He said, sis, hurt people hurt people. And I was like, wow. It like literally like cut through me like a knife. Like the end of a sharp knife, it just poked at me. I'm like, wow, that was because it was. And that's the whole truth. People out here hurting, and what they're doing right now is taking their hurt and anger out on everybody. They ain't even taking it out on the ones that's hurting them. The ones that's hurting them getting free willy passes. But the ones that try to love and support them, whether it be in person, or up close and in person, or from a distance, right? They wind up hurting the people that are helping them. They wind up, as my mother would say, blowing up the bridge that they got to cross, biting the hand that feeds you. We're in the times now. It's just sad. I'm so sick of hearing about tragedy, sadness. It's sad times. It's the reality. Bad enough you get sad when you get your paycheck in this capitalist system and you're broke before you even get it. And if you still got a couple pennies left, that's gone before you can shut your pocketbook to go on to the next test. This is the world we living in today. And I remember a long time ago that you could deal with one issue. You might have one little serious issue, but it wasn't enough to make you feel like, oh, damn, I feel, defeated. But all these issues piled up on top of issues is designed to do it, to try to break you down. But I just want to let and encourage anybody that's under the sound of my voice right now. I don't care what you're going through, because everybody's struggle is different and people suffer in silence. They may be suffering hard as hell and you never know it. They got the biggest smile on their face and suffering hard as you would never know it. And I never heard about so many people committing suicide. And I told y'all when I shared about one of our brothers that used to come and support us at West Wednesday, when I heard that his life got took because he couldn't take it no more. It's sad. It's sad. But again, I just want to let you know, love up on each other. Your kids, I don't give a damn if they grown. I got all adults. My youngest baby just not too long ago turned 18. And guess what? They're going to be my babies all their life. I'm that type of mother. We're going to always rock it out together. And whenever they need me, whatever and however they need me, I'm going to be there. Because guess what? That's how my mother raised me. She was always there for me. And guess what? What I'm doing is setting a model. I'm setting the standards. And what I'm doing is teaching my kids to do that. So God forbid, when I'm not here no more, they're going to be doing that to their babies. They're going to be the same type of way. So my whole point of saying that is, baby, it's too much of hate out here. Let's start loving up on each other. Let's start enjoying each other. And it wasn't until when I went out of town and I had so many mixed feelings and I wanted to be happy. I dressed up pretty. I did all this stuff, but I did not feel good in the inside. I felt hurt. I felt crushed to actually see my brother that should be here faced with a bunch of families, new families. Each year the crowd gets bigger, and that's not a club we want to go to. That's sadness. That's not like, oh, we going up for a promotion or something good. That's sad when you got another broken family, and it's like every day, and that list gets longer every week. At one of the workshops, which I knew before I went to the workshop, because we tried to do our best, and that's why I always thought it was very important to share the statistics of how many people getting murdered, even though we don't have the. It's very important for you to know that, because while you sat back there enjoying your family, it's somebody else getting murdered. It's somebody else, and it could easily be you, God forbid. So that's why we have to enjoy life as much as we can, but stand up, be that lion, fight for what's right. If it's worth having, it's worth fighting for, baby. I'm telling you, it's worth fighting for. So I'm gonna do a mic check. I'm gonna check in. I saw Nicole earlier on here before I got bumped off and couldn't even get on. Foolishness, but it is what it is. I keep it rocking. You gotta keep it moving. You can't stay stuck, because if you stay stuck, and I'll never forget when Uncle Bill said the most profound thing registered to me, and it always helped me and I'm in a time of need, or I'm feeling like depleted, or I feel like the world coming up against me. He said, Tawanda, and I can't quote him word for word, because y'all know I mess it all up. I always mess up certain things. Names I'm not good at. Like quoting somebody factual, but I'm gonna never lie to you. But my whole point is, he had said something. I was going through something, or we were talking about something, but the conversation and what we had was, he said, well, you know what, Tawanda? If there's a problem, you know what? It's always a solution. And I was like, there go that little knife again, sticking me hard in my side sharp. Like, damn, that was deep. That was a deep moment. So every time I go through something, and when I'm feeling frustrated, I'm like, at the end of the tunnel, there's light. And I remember my grandmother used to always say that. There's light. Her and her sister, man, and peace, used to always say, at the end of the tunnel, there's light. But that tunnel for me is knowing that, oh my God, I might be going through this, but once I figure it out, the solution, I can get out of this. And that's where hope comes in. And faith and all that good stuff. And I could take y'all to church on a Wednesday night, but I'm not about to do that. Thanks, everybody. This is Tawanda Jones. This is not the West Coalition. This is me. So I'm going to do a mic check. I'm going to check in to see if Nicole's still online. I'm going to see if Uncle Bill want to say anything before, if I can ask one of them to read any questions or comments that we may have on YouTube or on my brother's page. Mic check.
Mic check. Nicole, are you here? Well, I'll say a little something.
Okay.
The expression I was sharing with you when you talked about the problem and the solution was this, that history poses no problem for which the solution doesn't already exist. And it comes out of something called dialectical philosophy that says things exist in paired opposites. So the existence of a problem implies the existence of its opposite, which is the solution. On police brutality, perhaps we've said this recently, but it bears repeating that in 2023, community deaths from murder went down 11%. It was the biggest decline in at least 10 years, I think, since they've kept records of that type. But police killings went up somewhat significantly. It used to average about 1,100 a year, which is about 3 a day. But in 2023, it went up to 1,248 murders by police. So we have this interesting contradiction between community violence declining and police violence increasing. The other thing I want to mention is that the same forces that use violence to suppress us here are using violence and war to keep people oppressed in Gaza, in the West Bank, and in Lebanon. And the history of violence, official state-sponsored violence, is that slavery was a system that used violence to enforce unpaid labor. And capitalism, in my opinion, is a system that uses violence to enforce low-paid labor. So we've gone from officials using violence to enforce unpaid labor to enforcing low-paid labor. And I think that's a big part of why we see so much police brutality. It's an army of occupation. It's to keep people in line. It's to prevent, if they can, unity and rebellion. So I just wanted to make that point. And if no one else is prepared to make any remarks, I'd be happy to read the comments so far.
Okay, Mike check. Does anybody else want to make a comment or question? All right, well, Uncle Bill, the floor is all yours.
All right. So we start off with Angela, and she wrote, "No justice, just us," and also wrote, "You are a true warrior sister, sis." Linda wrote, "Mic check." AC Britt, thugs with badges and fake, quote, authority, unquote. And she also wrote Power of the People. Hillary said, live to love and love to live is what you teach all your children. And Super Cardio said, mic check. So those are the comments thus far this evening.
Awesome. Thank you so much for saying that. And big shout out to all y'all. I love y'all. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. But I wanted to also kind of elaborate. So last week, I started talking to you guys about the badge bending. And I was saying, and me thinking it was like in a foreign country somewhere. And somebody was like, oh, no, that was in some part of California. And I was like, wow. That is disgusting. So in case you don't know about the badge bending, what's going on with the badge bending, that they do that racist stuff whenever they kill us. They do a shooting. They bend and kill us. They murder us in cold blood. They bend their badge. So please be careful. If you see some badge bend, if you see a badge bend, you might want, I don't know, like just gotta be real careful. But that is just so sick and disgusting. And it's the world that we live in. And the system says, so you have racist judges that support that foolishness. And just like I said, back then when our ancestors and all our forefathers were out there shedding blood and getting their blood shed for us to live, meanwhile, people were walking around, racist people walking around with white sheets covered up. Now, they ain't even covered up. They wear blue uniforms. They wear black robes. They're in the courtroom. They're in every part of this system. You got them in the hospital wearing white jackets. Like, come on, they everywhere. In the lawyer office, they're everywhere. Serving out food everywhere. Serving your kids medicine that they don't need. They're everywhere. Like, it's disgusting. But again, I say that we must advocate. And I just wanted to tell people, please be careful. And if anybody tries to recommend that your child, you got to know, and that's what me and my brother Tyrone West always talked about. We said, having a relationship with someone is so deep. The communication what plays the biggest part of a relationship. The communication is the key. And that's so true. So through communication, you learn and you know somebody. So the whole thing is that way when something bad happens, you already know that relationship you have with that person, and you know, like, this ain't right. This wasn't something natural. This some foolishness. You need to be like that with people you love, because I'm glad that the people that I know that are connected with me, like I know certain things, like when I sit up there and me and Angela, we pray together. But if she be on some point so much, she'd be like, sis, the prayer line on. I missed it today, sis, because I was building with my parents at back to school night. Or my sister Dina be like, if I don't answer the phone, she gonna show up. She would be like, I'm at the house. Like, I'm out front, you wouldn't answer. So just having those type of relationships with great people that really love you is deep, and it's important, because anybody can do anything to you in these times, unfortunately, but you have to know your loved ones. And I said all this to say, when you know your loved ones, so if somebody's coming in, I don't give a damn if it's a doctor, a physician, a church pastor, anybody trying to tell you about your loved one, your child, don't believe you know your child. You know your child. Like, you know your child. Like, and that's just sad. Like, and I'm just telling people, be careful of what you let go on in these doctors' offices, because they're giving children these psychotic drugs that are driving children crazy. Then you wonder why, and then why they driving them crazy. Then you got Fox 40 Lives pulling up, well, this teen did this and this, but they ain't telling the uncut story of how somebody mother was saying, my child need a little bit of help because whatever, and then they like, go take him to the doctor, and the doctor put him on some crazy medication and all that. So be very careful. Be very careful. I'm telling you, I had an issue that I just straightened out, because you ain't gonna play with mine. Nothing about it. I ain't gonna go into my personal business, but I'm gonna tell you, checkmate I did that. And I straightened it out, and I'm back on course, and everything's fine. Because they ain't about to play with me in these streets. You can play. Just like I always say, a weapon can form, but it will not prosper. So with that being said, I'm going to check in real quick, and I'm not going to hold you guys any longer. And if nobody else want to say or add to the conversation, we can roll right with, unfortunately, the part I don't like is the sad list. And then I want to give a big shout out to the West Coalition, because guess what? Now that when I go to any of Uncle Bobby and them things, they done adopted our mic check, because I was like, they was mic checking it up in Cali, and every time I'm like, okay, that came from the West Coalition. So yeah, so each one teach one. So yeah, it's all good. Ain't
So
nothing but love in the hood.
Before
But
we
anyway,
go, before we go to
yeah.
the sad list, I didn't have the computer screen quite right, and I left out a few comments. So would you like to have them now?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. At the very beginning, Hillary said mic check, Judah said mic check, and AC Britt said mic check. And the last comment was from AC Britt, and she said they are indeed an occupying force, speaking about police, but the ones they attack aren't even in the streets protesting. So now that concludes all the remarks. Mic check.
That part. And I'm so sorry Adina missed. I hope she got a chance to watch last West Wednesday, because it was deep. My sister, she really shut it down. She really did an awesome, amazing job. But so if all hearts and minds are clear, I am going to read our little disclosure, and we will move on, unfortunately, to the saddest part. And again, I apologize, because I wanted to come on exactly 7:30, but y'all know they play with me in these streets. So I had so many issues connecting, and that's why I had to come on this way, but it's all good. So if you guys give me a few seconds, I'm actually pulling up our disclaimer as we are speaking right now, and I'm going to read it to you guys. And I just hope that everybody's having a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I love you. Just like Adina said, not Adina, just like Hillary said, like what I say all the time, live to love to live, and I love you all. And I want to give a big shout out and special prayers to all the families, because we got, I think it's Flood, and I'm probably saying the name wrong, I think it's Flood Daniels, Hurricane Daniel that's supposed to be getting ready to hit. And it's just that, and Uncle Bill, I got a question real quick, it's off topic. But where do they get these names from when they have these horrible storms from? Like, do you know anything, the history on why they name certain storms? And it seems like the lady names be the vicious ones that be like, it's horrible. It's nothing like, it's just terrible. But where do they get these names from when they be like tropical Katrina and, Daniel and all this other stuff? Like, where did they get those names from when they are talking about storms? Do you know that?
My understanding is that they used to name all of them with women's names, and then there was a lot of discussion, and many people pointed out how wrong that was, and then they started introducing male names for some of the storms. But other than that, I don't know where they get the names from.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for saying, if anybody else know where these storm names come from, please let me know. But speaking of storms, I'm praying for anyone that is like truly affected. Like, it's just like sad. It's like you can say, oh, my heart goes out, but you don't feel people pain until they like lose everything in a storm. Just imagine, that's horrible. You're living in your home with your family. You're already going through issues, and then on top of that storm, you face a storm and another storm physically, and you lose all the stuff in your house, your homes. And I'm just so sorry what's happening with all these storms and different things that are happening around the world. It's just sad, and it's horrible and heartbreaking. So my prayers is always, always with everybody that's dealing with any issue, not just police brutality, but any issue that you may be going through right now. I pray for us every day, all day long, so you're with my prayers and thoughts. So,
Tawanda, we have a few more answers on your question about how do they name the storms.
Awesome.
So AC Britt said they come out with the list before hurricane season and alternate between male and female. And then she added, if there's any deaths during the storms, they retire the names. And Hillary said Hurricane Helene was last week. Right now, Hurricane Milton is hitting Florida, unfortunately. And AC Britt said people can submit names to the NOAA.
Oh, thank you guys for clearing that up. And I knew that I messed that name up, but I don't know where the hell I got Daniel from. I don't know. But anyway, this is weird because I used to be, when I tell you guys, and I'm not lying, and I think that deals with trauma. I know that it does because before my brother, as being a teacher, you have to remember everybody's name. You got to remember the parents' name, the children's name. And I went through decades of knowing my parents' names and knowing my student names and always remembering a face. But when I got caught up in that dark spot or when my brother was murdered, all the name stuff went out. Like I started like not being able to remember like how to get back places. Like it got real bad. Like no sense of direction. I'm like, oh my goodness. But I think that comes along with trauma because a lot of stuff I buried because like I said, that day when my brother died, a big part of me died too. And I got back up and I said, oh, I'll be damned. The devil is a liar. So, yeah, but that's just like, it's interesting. And I'm just wondering if like, and this is saying like, you don't know stuff until you meet somebody that's going through the same thing you going through. And then they be like, oh, well, I went through that. Oh, like I used to call names and now I mess up everybody. And I'm like, don't judge my heart, please. Like, I don't mean no harm, but, and that's why I be on the safe side. My parents, hey, ma, and it's said that I'll be, hey, mom, with that, or I'll call them their last name of their child. Cause I'm like, okay, you know, so, but yeah, all that went, like I said, out the window on July the 18th, 2013. So yeah. But is there any more comments or questions, Uncle Bill, before I roll to our statement, our mission statement?
No, we've read them all. There aren't any new ones.
Okay. And I'm still sending big prayers out for Charlene and, you know, her going through her surgery and just all the stuff that she's going through. We're just sending just prayer and any and everybody that's going through stuff, like everybody that's going through stuff. I love you guys. Sending prayers, sending love, prayers, love, and nothing but positive vibes. So, all right, I'm ready to read the statement. So, it is the mission of the West Coalition to work for accountability for Tyrone West and all the victims of police brutality. We believe that there is a connection between police brutality and community violence. Police can use de-escalation strategies to diffuse situations without necessarily using force, and we encourage community members to resolve disputes without violence. We care deeply about those families impacted by police brutality and community violence. We seek to lift up the names of their loved ones from a place of respect and care. We obtain lists of names of those shot and killed by police and those lost to the community violence from national and local news outlets. And we know that, you know, people don't always get murdered by, you know, getting beat to death or whatever. But thank goodness we found a better website that actually tells you all the victims' names that they know of. And it's an awesome site that we now use that, because the one site we was using, I believe it was the Washington Post website. And, you know, they only focus on the gun violence victims, but thank goodness. And it's, even though it's sad, it's not like, oh, I'm so happy to hear about somebody getting murdered, but I'm just, you know, glad that they're able, because we know, like I said, that violence, you know, somebody getting shot down is not the only way that someone is murdered. So the time now is 8:35. We will be back at 8:37. Mic check.
Mic check.
All right, guys. The time now is 8:37. I'm gonna do a mic check, and I'm handing it all over. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Brian. Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
All right. So I'm going to read the names of people who died by community violence in the past couple of weeks here in Baltimore. And so I just ask you to honor them and their friends and family and the struggle that we're all involved in by just echoing those names back to me. Ryan Kane.
Ryan
Ryan
Kane.
Kane.
Jasmine Simuel.
Jasmine Simuel.
Melvin Rogers.
Melvin Rogers.
Kevin Cooper.
Kevin Cooper.
Dion Huff.
Keon Huff.
And Damian Parker.
Damian Parker.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Brian. Thank you. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic
So
check.
it falls to me. Mic check. It falls to me to share the list of people killed by police, and we're reading the names and honoring those whose lives were stolen from September the 21st to September the 29th, and during those 9 days, the police killed 22 people.
Oh my gosh.
The first was very nearby, and perhaps we can look into this case in Wheaton, Maryland, on the 21st, 31 years old, Melvin Chavez Paz.
Melvin Chavez Paz.
Melvin Chavez Paz.
Also on the 21st in Orlando, Florida, we know it's a man, but the age and the name have been withheld by police at this point.
So black for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. Moving to the 22nd in Charlotte, North Carolina, 37 years old, Nelson Reyes.
Nelson Reyes.
Again on the 22nd in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, 68 years old, Ronald Parrish.
Ronald Parrish.
Again on the 22nd in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'll mention that this person whose life was stolen was a transgender woman, 33 years old, Grayson Kuhn.
Grayson.
In Houston, Texas, again on the 22nd, we have a man that was killed by the police. His age and his name have been withheld at this point by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. On the 23rd in Lawton, Oklahoma, a woman, 34 years old, Terrelyn Whalen.
Terrelyn Whalen.
On the 24th in Fontana, California, 44 years old, Jesus Garcia.
Jesus Garcia.
Again on the 24th in Marysville, California, 22 years old, Don Moore.
Don Moore.
On the 25th in St. Louis, Missouri, and that's near where the rebellion was, the killing of Mike Brown, 37 years old, Gregory Maxwell.
Gregory Maxwell.
On the 26th of the month in Hahnville, Louisiana, 58 years old, Charles Verdin.
Charles Verdin.
Charles Verdin.
Again on the 26th in Belle Plaine, Minnesota, 29 years old, Chantrell Murdoch.
Chantrell Murdoch.
Murdoch.
On the 26th, yet again in Pomona Park, Florida, a man whose age, oh, wait a minute, they didn't give us the age, but they did give us his name, Emmanuel Vestal.
Emmanuel Vestal.
On the 27th in Vancouver, Washington, 56 years old, Michael Williams.
Michael Williams.
Michael Williams.
Again on the 27th in Aurora, Illinois, 36 years old, Nicholas Novak.
Nicholas Novak.
On the 27th, once more in National City, California, 46 years old, Gene Stewart.
Gene Stewart.
On the 28th, in Port St. Lucie, Florida, 50 years old, Paul Fialo.
Paul Fialo.
On the 28th, in Lane Tree, or perhaps it's Lone Tree, Colorado, a man whose age and name have been withheld at this point by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Ashe.
On the 28th, again in Smyrna, Georgia, 21 years old, Emilio Aguilar.
Emilio
Aguilar.
On the 29th, again in Mesa, Arizona, 37 years old, Edward Johnson.
Edward Johnson.
Edward Johnson.
Again on the 29th in Omaha, Nebraska, 22 years old, Stephen Phipps.
Stephen Phipps.
And we're coming now to the last person we'll be upholding this evening. I look forward to a time in the future when we have no lists of this type. This was Anchorage, Alaska, 24 years old, James Afuvai.
James
Afuvai.
Thank you, everyone. Mic check.
Mic check. Thank you. So I heard that Nicole just jumped on. Nicole, would you like to say a few words before we close out? Because we're about to close.
I actually don't see her anymore.
Oh, okay. All righty. Well, again, I just want to thank you for hosting tonight. My queen, thank you so much. Thank you, Uncle Bill, for putting me on here. Thank you, Brother Brian, for reading your end of the sad list. And again, thank you, Uncle Bill, for reading your part. Remember, live to love to live. Let's be lions out here, man. We can't just settle for anything. If we want better, we must do better. So we will see you guys next week. So we're going to do a mic check, the final one, and then we're going to go to this video. Please watch, share, like, and let's do something. Let's figure it out. One person can't figure it out, because if one person could, it would have been figured out a long time ago. So, love you guys. Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life. And Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5. Unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why you
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the gun trace task force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's attorney see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salon vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.